updates. Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I'm driving this. This is the Audi Q2 40 TFSI and the key is very similar to older Skoda cars. Anyway, straight away let's open the engine bay of this vehicle and there you see it. That is the petrol engine. It only comes with the petrol engine. There's insulation right there and obviously it gets hydraulic struts as well. And the design of this car is actually very different because from certain angles it looks like something else, which we will talk about in a bit. You get the bold Audi logo up front, which you get on almost every Audi car, of course. It says Quattro right here, but it's not the typical Quattro which you would expect. There are front parking sensors and of course the DRL also turns into the indicator. The lights are all LEDs and you know what, this T-shape will remind you of the Thor's hammer headlights. So the lights are a little bit Volvo-ish. Meanwhile, it also gets a headlight washer right there. Yeah, there is the headlight washer which is under function. Sprays a lot and actually dirties the car more than it cleans the headlights. Anyways, you see the spray's gone all the way till there. I like the design at the front. It looks kind of bold and nice. But you know, when you come to the side, you realize this is actually a very small car. The length of this car is only 4.3 meters, slightly more than 4.3 meters in length, which actually makes it smaller than the Renault Duster. And the wheels are not inspiring at all because they should have given it more sportier wheels, considering this is the S-Line trim. Okay, it's actually the technology variant, but S-Line. So this could have been finished in black or grey or whatever. The tire size happens to be a generous 215/55 17s, and you get this cladding as well, which is running throughout the car. Ground clearance seems to be ample. Now, right here you see the mirror is finished in gloss black, so is the roof, but the roof is not completely finished in gloss black. Start say roof include karke, and then it is a shark fin antenna which is finished in gloss black. Now, the C pillar is finished in gloss black, so is the B pillar, but the A pillar is not. I mean, certain attention to detail could have been added to this car to make it look even more appealing, since this is a sportier model considering the price. Only someone who's looking for something sporty would be ready to pay so much more for this car. Now from the rear, many people have told me it actually looks like a jacked up Polo, and the lights might remind you of the same thing as well. It says 40 TFSI Quattro right there. Okay, these lights are very much going to remind you of the Volkswagen Polo, but you know what? They are dual exhausts which are very much functional. These are functional exhausts. No fake stuff happening there. Yeah, the underbody will remind you that this is actually an MQB platform car. Rear parking sensors. There's a reverse parking camera right there and Q2 is written there. Now it gets dynamic swipe indicators at the rear. The indicators look brilliant the way they swipe out. And from this angle, the Q2 actually looks pretty good. However, let's do one thing. Let's open the boot of the car and there opens the boot. The boot is not actually big enough. Oh my god, there's a package from Citroen for the Aircross, which we'll talk about later. Anyways, there's a light here. There's a light here as well. There's a hook there as well. And the seats split forward in 40/60 format. There's a spare wheel below, but the tire size happens to be a meager 125/70/19 and a lot of paper. It seems like an office right there below. And there's this high visibility jacket, which once worn in a car will improve the NCAP safety rating as well. Jokes aside, let's close this. Take some effort to close it. There's a rear washer wiper. Of course, there's a rear spoiler as well. Let's quickly get inside this Audi Q2. But let me tell you something. This car looks small, but on the outside there's a lot of attention to detail, like the lines and everything are really awesome, huh? So the rear seat experience isn't that great because this is actually a small car. Door pockets are decent size. Quality levels are fantastic. I love the way the trim has been done. Super duper awesome. Scooped out seat back, and you can obviously get good amount of legroom as well. But you know what? There are AC vents below sort of. And there's good amount of legroom actually, but knee room is also decent because of the scooped out seat back. Under thigh support is so not that great. Headroom is okay, again not that great for a tall passenger like me, but the bigger problem is that the seat is just too upright here. Okay, there's a center armrest with cup holders, twin cup holders here. Okay, it's got 3 adjustable headrests as well, but 3 people can't sit in because there's a hump here. There's a 12 volt charging socket and there are 2 USB-C charging sockets. Okay, there's a magazine holder, but there are no proper AC vents as such. Okay, there is that vent below, but there is no proper AC vent at the rear, which is disappointing at this price point. There's light right on the top and the window area is actually small enough, so it doesn't really feel airy at the rear. You can see the dashboard design of the car. It is kind of on the sportier side because it's an all black interior with a flat bottom steering wheel too. Let's do one thing, let's get out, but before that you can see there is a hook here, but there is no handle on the top. Okay, there is one on the driver's side and the co-driver's side, but Audi also knows it. It's not for the rear seat passenger, that's why there is none at the rear. Okay, there is a speaker placement right there. Now you can actually recline the seats very easily. There's a button here and there. So it's not a 60-40 split, it's a 40-20-40 split, which is also quite cool. Where is the button and the lever to push this down? should be somewhere here itself. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's push it from there. A lot of effort. No, yeah, it is a 40-60 split only, not a 40-20-40. Usually, this side is not the 41, it's the 61. But here it seems to be flipped. That's it. Kind of fooled me. Isofix child seat mounts. Obviously, doors don't open 90 degrees. Of course, they open somewhere like 78.5 degrees. So yes, Tata Altroz, good for you. Let's get inside. Okay, it's got a request sensor on the driver's door, which means when you put your hand inside, the door unlocks. The door pockets are big enough at the front. High quality switches, of course, typical Audi fashion. This is the control for the outside rear view mirrors. This will lock or unlock the car. And I love this treatment as well. The car is making noise for reasons best known to it. S written here for the S-line trim. There's a proper dead pedal there. These are the controls for the headlights. Now this is for the fog light, the rear fog light. These are the controls for the headlight, automatic headlights obviously. And this is to turn on and off the headlight washer function of this car. Now it looks quite funky. Hi Nurain, what's up? You seem so bored today. What happened? All good, all fine?
Really hot.
It's really hot. Now I know the car is really hot. So here, take the keys. Does it make you feel better?
No.
Obviously it doesn't. Anyways, the seats are very nice. They are quite wide as such, with good side bolstering as well. But under thigh support could have been better, and I am the person who always complains about under thigh support. Now the shocking thing is, a car so expensive does not have electric adjust for the driver's seat or the co-driver seat, so you have to manually pull and push stuff. And in order to recline this, there's this lever, which is the most irritating thing I like. I mean I don't like this at all, because you have to keep rotating it, and it's very time consuming as such. Let's get inside straight away. Alright, the dashboard design is actually quite nice because it's very sporty. There's actually soft touch material right there. The AC vents have the spider treatment inside. Again, looks super cool, and in order to close them, it's so easy. I mean, this is super duper awesome. The way it's done, opening and closing, is mind blowing. Okay, there are various controls here. This is for the drive select. This is to turn off the stop start system. This is for parking sensors, and this is for traction control, and this is to turn off that screen. Now, the screen does not get a touch screen. Unfortunately, there's no touch screen on offer. So yes, that's kind of old here. The twin cup holders here. Give me the key, Nurain. Thank you so much. There's a key holder right there. You can slot the key right there. This is for coins probably. There's a 12-volt charging socket. There's a USB charging socket, engine start stop button, gear lever. Oh my god, what's happening? Gear lever says S-Tronic. Very nice and premium. This is obviously the MMI controller, menu, back, and various buttons, which makes it so much easier. Thank God it's not a touchscreen, because I like it this way. There's a dummy button here, which you can have for probably NOS. Just kidding. This is the electric parking brake, and there's storage space below here, below this front center armrest. But you know what? This is a wireless charging pad, which is so small that doesn't actually fit a full-size iPhone. Yeah, that's right. That doesn't fit in there. There's a USB charging socket along with an aux port right there. Now the glove box is lockable. It's decent size, but you get two SD card slots on the top. Actually, the glove box is big enough, and there's a pen holder there as well. I love this treatment. It looks quite nice, the way they have given this treatment. It says Quattro right there, just in case your co-passenger is doubting your cornering abilities. Quattro has your back, and steering wheel feels really nice to hold. It actually reminds you of the RS5, if I may. Meanwhile, this is actually a small screen, easy to operate because of this MMI controller. Pretty slick and fast, and obviously reassuring also because the click wheel actually makes some amount of noise as well. So you can get into car, which is basically the drive select. We have 5 drive modes on offer. Coming back, I mean, this is the usual affair which we've seen on so many Audi cars now that's not even amusing to me right now, because there's an updated MMI system abroad in the Q2 as well, which is unfortunately not there in India. It gets navigation, which is also very legit. You can actually decide where you want to go, but we're going to get into maps right now. This is the maps, and yeah, you can browse through to see the full Earth. Yeah, the Earth is round. Sorry, flat Earthers. That's kind of disappointing for you. Coming back, oh my god. Nurain is looking at me and saying, are you for real? How come you're sweating so much? Well, I can't really help it. Anyways, this instrument cluster is the Audi Virtual Cockpit. It is a beautiful one. Look at it. I mean, the display is amazing without a doubt. Now you can browse through all the information, and of course, you get the maps here as well. Get the full map view. Beautiful. Amazing. I love it. All the information right on your fingertips. These are obviously the controls for the audio system. This to pick up a call, voice command, navigation, and the star button. I think you can assign to anything you like. This is obviously again to browse through that multi-information display. This is for the cruise control system. This is for the indicators, obviously, and the pass-by. This is for the wipers. Obviously, it gets automatic wipers. It gets automatic headlights. It gets a lot of automatic functions. Frameless inside rear view mirror, which also happens to get, yeah, you guessed it right, auto dimming function, and on both the sides you get a mirror along with a light. Same is the case there as well, mirror along with a light. The mirror is always open, you know why? Yeah, let's close this and let's open the sunroof of the car, and there opens the sunroof. This is actually, oh my god, the sunroof is opening without opening the sunblind, so you have to manually do that. Now this is not really a panoramic roof, but it's slightly bigger than a usual roof, big enough to bring airy feeling inside the cabin. Rather, you know why? Because the cabin is all black, but the roof is beige. Yeah, that's kind of different and nice as well. So storage space is ample inside the car, And of course, the quality levels are fantastic to say the least, because this is the control for the air conditioning, and you can see the knurled finishing feels super duper awesome as well. Everything inside this Audi is about pure quality. The steering wheel can be adjusted both for reach as well as rake, but it's manually adjustable. The audio system is also fantastic. Let's do one thing. Let's play an audio right away. Audio quality is actually nice. This is for the volume controller, or to go to a next track, or to a previous track. So ergonomically, this car is super duper sorted. Interior feels super duper sporty. Trust me on it. Audi TT vibes right there. But this screen could have been better. Touch screen should have been offered. But enough of complaining. Let's start driving, because it's got a big engine for its size. Alright, we're all set to go, which means turning off the air conditioning. Come on, air conditioning, turn off, turn off, turn off. Yeah, air conditioning off. We get into drive mode. We get into dynamic mode right away. Yeah, dynamic mode. Traction control has to be turned off. Traction control goes into off-road. What is off-road mode? Anyways, we're going to keep this button pressed, and it's completely turned off now. The thing is, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, hazard lights off, revving the motor, revs till 3,500 RPM, and off we go. Did you notice one thing? Performance is absolutely stunning, because a car as small as the Q2, it weighs only 1450 kgs. Yeah, that's right. Hardly weighs anything. Has a very powerful 2-liter TFSI engine which produces 190 horsepower between 4,200 to 6,000 RPM. Meanwhile, the torque output happens to be 320 Newton meters, which comes in at a low 1,500 RPM and stays there till 4,100 RPM. Now, of course, we know this engine very well because it powers the Superb, the Octavia RS, as well as its own sibling, the A4, and the Tiguan Allspace. This 2-liter engine is fantastic. It's very refined at lower speeds. Okay, this truck is making a lot of noise. It's super duper refined, very smooth, and is punchy enough. In fact, you know what? Because of BS6, it's very linear now. So performance is great. Drivability is also good. Turbo lag is so well contained, you don't really realize that this is a turbocharged engine. That is the level of low-end performance and drivability. But around the mid-range, around 2000 RPM, there's a slight step up in power, and of course it redlines very quickly, goes all the way, not all the way, it goes only to 6200 RPM. That's not really a high redline, but then we know VW actually caps the RPM limit of its cars. I don't know for what reason. Performance is really very good. Okay, it's fantastic. In fact, Audi claims it will go from 0 to 100 km per hour in a staggering 6.5 seconds, which makes it blisteringly quick. The top speed should be in excess of 230 km per hour, but then this is not the most aerodynamic car as such. Yeah, this is a crossover, so it's not very aerodynamic. Performance is fantastic to say the least. Refinement levels are good, and of course the engine sounds sporty in the higher end of the rev range. I know you guys are like, can we do another launch? Of course we can, because this car always begs to be launched. That is how good it feels to go from 0 to 100 km per hour every time. Fantastic. And here we are, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor, and off we go. Yeah, so right now I'm driving in sport mode. If I shift it into manual mode now, it still does not hold on to a gear. It will upshift without a doubt. Yeah, it will upshift no matter how much I press the Tiptronic function or even the steering mounted paddles. It will still make an upshift when it reaches the red line, which is kind of disappointing because it should have given me complete manual control of things. Now obviously there are 5 drive modes on offer. There's efficiency, there's comfort, there's auto, dynamic, and of course individual. What does it exactly do? It changes the engine and the gearbox. That's about it. And the steering wheel too, and probably the air conditioning as well. The suspension is unaltered. The suspension is on the stiffer side naturally, and because of the stiff suspension, you can feel that stiffness at lower speeds over bad road. But for the most part, the ride quality is actually very compliant indeed. It does a great job because the tire profile is actually right on this car. That's the reason why it actually does a great job even at higher speeds over bad roads, because it doesn't have that bounciness or so. It just feels so composed, and yeah, vertical movement is very well contained as well. So fantastic in terms of suspension, and because of the suspension being on the stiffer side, the handling is very much fun. Why is it so fun? Because of course, you know what, this is a small car and it has got tight dimensions and a stiff suspension and a steering wheel which is actually quite good. Only issue here is that it could have done with a lot more feedback. The feedback isn't the best, but still it's accurate enough for steering wheel. There's plenty of grip on offer. It's obviously quattro, channeling power to all 4 wheels, not entirely, because this is an MQB platform, which means that it's not a traditional quattro system. It's a more front bias quattro system. When it detects slip, it actually channels power to all the wheels, but mostly it's more front bias, and this car begs to be pushed because that is the level of performance on offer. And this being a CVO doesn't even get the speed alert system, which is a fantastic feature. Anyways, that said, okay, they manually put an alarm at around 80 kilometers per hour. Manually it comes up. I think you can change that probably. So here, let me get into another view. This also looks fantastic. I love the virtual cockpit. It is amazing. It's just amazing. It's just so good now. I can't, put it in words. That's how good it is. One of the best. But what is not the best is this gearbox. Now, this is a 7-speed dual clutch unit, which is actually very quick with upshift, but a little bit lethargic with downshift. You need a downshift, it will not give it to you. It will actually fumble there, maybe take its own speed time, and then you realize it's better you do it yourself with the steering mounted paddle. So you're going to launch aggressively again. You're going to launch in sport. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator. There is no launch control here. Rev still 3,500 RPM. Little bit of wheel spin on offer. This 7-speed dual clutch unit is really very quick with upshifts. A little bit more enthusiasm at downshifts would have been really awesome. So 5 variants of the Q2 are available, and the base variant's price is rupees 45.40 lakhs. In the top of the line variant, which I'm driving right now, the technology, it's priced at 65.52 lakhs. All the prices are obviously on road Mumbai. Makes it a very expensive car. You know what are the 5 variants? Of course, there's the standard variant, which doesn't even get rear speakers. I kid you not, no rear speakers on the standard variant. Meanwhile, there's obviously the premium plus 1, then the premium plus 2, and then the technology. These are the 5 variants on offer. This is a very expensive car for what it offers. At least in terms of size, it just feels overpriced. And you know why? Because this is actually a CBU import. It's completely imported model, and that's the reason why it is so expensive. You know what? You're better off buying an Audi A4, because the A4 is bigger in terms of size. Obviously, it's a sedan, it's more classy, but doesn't get quattro. Not that this can really off-road much, because this is more of a front bias quattro system, and obviously this is crossover, not really an SUV in that sense. Still, directional changes are impressive. Body roll is there, but well contained, and braking performance is absolutely fantastic. Really stops dead in its line. Sure-footed braking. That's 6.5 seconds to go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. Just kidding, it takes longer than 6.5 seconds. 6.5 seconds is an ideal scenario, which obviously Audi India claims. Now, the fuel economy of this car should be between 11 to 12 kilometers per liter. Right now, it's showing 6 kilometers per liter with an aggressive right foot, obviously. But yes, it can give much better fuel economy. The only thing I'm wondering is that Audi should have actually got the Q3 as a full import rather than getting the Q2, because the Q2 size is really very small. And in India, people want a car which has size on its side. The Q2 just does not. But that said, the good part about this car is that it's a very fun car to drive, and if size is not your only criteria, you would love it. I know. If you push it hard now, it understeers, and that understeering nature is something which is there with almost all Audi cars, because most of them are either front wheel drive, otherwise having quattro. Even with 4-wheel drive, it does understeer. Although, the latest Audi cars are also having drift modes, but those are obviously from the RS series. Taking a U-turn, no problem at all. Steering is actually quite light and easy to twirl at lower speeds, and does weigh up decently well. Only thing is that feedback now, that is my only issue. Horn is fantastic, really loud and nice. Actually, this is the kind of horn people love in Germany, but they don't use a honk at all. They don't honk at all in Germany, so that's another thing altogether. Closing gap, no problem. Making overtake on the highway, no problem. The engine is stellar in this car. But I was saying they should have rather got the Q3, but forget the Q3. They should actually got the Q2 facelift, which, although gets minor changes inside and outside, and obviously better tech as well, would have been the ideal choice. Because right now what you feel is that Audi is offering you the old Q2 in India when the new Q2 had already, the facelifted version of the Q2 was already unveiled. It kind of makes you feel that even though you're paying a lot more money for the Q2 here because of the CBU and the high taxes, you still don't get the latest model. But if you want to stand out of the crowd, if you want something different and unique, the Q2 is the one which is going to make you do that. Why? Because not many of them are going to be sold, obviously, because Audi is getting a limited quantity of the same. But the Q5 facelift is soon going to be a launch in India. The Q3 will also make its debut, and once the diesel engines come, hopefully Audi will be back with the bang. Although right now their higher range is really very awesome with the A8, RS Q8, Q8 and whatnot. So guys, this is my vlog of the Audi Q2. A very small car from Audi, but still a whole lot of fun. I know this is one of the rare Audi cars which you would not think twice before pushing it around the corners, because size is on its side when it comes to fun to drive nature. But then for Indians, jo dikhta hai wo bikta hai, and that's where the Q2 really falters. Not that many people are going to care about it, because this is not going to be the only car in the garage. This is more going to be the urban runabout, and as an urban runabout, it gives you the premium appeal with compact dimensions, which seems hard to beat. If you like this vlog, make sure to give the thumbs up, that's the like button, and also subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next video real soon. Bye bye.